everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Helen and today I'm doing a very different TBR for me. It's going to run across 3 months. It's for Strictly Come Dancing. As people may or may not know, I think I've mentioned it on my channel before, I do love Strictly Come Dancing. Every year for my family I do a sweep where we all put a fiver in, we all pull a name out, and then people win money based on the final 3 people. Yeah, so I've always loved it. I've watched it since the beginning, and so I thought this time I would let the contestants choose my books over 3 months. So if you haven't seen Strictly Come Dancing before, celebrities are paired up with professional dancers. It's like the Dancing with the Stars in America, and there's different versions across the world. And they dance every week, and each week somebody goes out and then there are people left at the end, and then there's a final winner. So what I've decided to do is all of the contestants, I have assigned a book, and then each week once that person goes out, that following week I'm going to try and read that book. And yeah, so it's just going to go like that. Although when we get to the final, sometimes I'm going to end up having to read 3 books probably in 1 week. Sometimes the BBC have 4 people in the final and then whittle it down. Sometimes they have 3, sometimes they have 2. They keep changing it, which doesn't make it easy for me when I am doing a sweep. But hey ho. So I will go through the contestants and then I will go through which book I've picked for them. Some of these are quite loose. I have had to some people I've gone off just their names, some people I've gone off what they do for a living and then picked a book based off that. So some of them are really loose attachments. I apologise for that, but not all of these people had a book out. I looked for on this Facebook, on Instagram and Twitter if they posted about any books that they'd liked. So I literally did quite a bit of research for this and then came up with what I've got. The lighting in here is terrible, bear with me, I'll have to do it like that. So without further ado, there's no order, I'm just going to go off how I wrote them down. So the first person that was one of the Strictly contestants is Ellie Taylor. She actually has a book out, so that is why I'm going for this one. Ellie is a comedian, and she has a book out called My Child and Other Mistakes. It says, let me see, I don't think it's got the rundown here, but it says on the back, a wickedly honest, hilarious and moving look at the front line of early parenthood, perfect for expectant parents everywhere, as well as those who've been there, done that and wonder how on earth they did. So I just thought that would be quite interesting, but thankful to her that she has got a book out that I haven't read yet. So for Ellie Taylor, I'm going to read this one. This, I don't know how well some of them are going to do, so obviously, you know, some, if it's unexpected, I'm going to end up reading, you get people who are really good and go out early, so I'll be reading their book earlier. You get the comedy characters who go right through to the, like you had Anne Widdecombe went quite far, the fella from the Hairy Bikers went quite far, that go further than expected. So I can't guarantee, I might think she'll do really well and then she'll go out in week 3 and I'll end up reading the book earlier, but there you go. So Ellie Taylor. Then there's Richie Anderson, who works like on radio. He does like the travel section. I hadn't heard of Richie before, however he hasn't got a book out. I couldn't find any books that he'd mentioned that he liked, so I have used his surname and gone for The Thief Who Sang Storms by Sophie Anderson. I have not read a Sophie Anderson yet. I've had that many TBRs where I've said that I'll read different one of hers, so maybe this is the chance to do it. I just feel like doing it across the 3 months and reading a different book a week, I'm probably going to be able to fit them in. So yeah, that one by Ellie Taylor was quite slim. This one's slightly thicker for a middle grade, but I think I'll be able to do it. I would imagine the writing's not that big. Yeah, so this one is Lynette wishes she could sing magic, but magic is forbidden as she has been banished with her father to the mournful swamp. She misses her old life and dreams of reuniting with her friends. When her father is captured for taking a precious jewel, Lynette must set out on a treacherous journey, travelling through alligator pools and sinking sands with new friends. She learns how to be brave and discovers something even more powerful than singing magic, something that could save her father and heal the broken heart of her island once more. So this one is for Richie Anderson, because Sophie Anderson has the same surname. Next we have Kim Marsh. Now Kim Marsh has had a book out. about her life, but I've already read that years ago. So again, I've had to use her surname, but not for the author this time. It's actually in the title of the book. A friend from work told me about this one. It's another middle grade. It's called Sisters of the Lost Marsh, and it's by Lucy Strange. It says, life is hard for Willa, Grace and Freya and their 3 younger sisters, 6 motherless girls working a farm, living in fear of their cruel father and the superstition that obsesses him, the curse of 6 daughters. With the arrival of the mysterious full moon fair, there's a chance for the eldest girl to steal a moment's fun, but the day the fair moves on, Grace vanishes. Willa goes after her, following a trail that leads into the dangerous Lost Marsh, where it is said a will-o'-the-wisp lures souls into the dark waters. Lost souls into the dark waters of the Maya. If Willa is to survive and reunite her family, she will need to unravel the secrets her father has kept hidden and face her own deepest fears. So I forgot to say, Kim Marsh, for those who don't know, she went through one of them programs, I think it was Pop Stars, was it, when it was out? A bit like X Factor. She then became part of a band called Hey Say, and now she's an actress in Coronation Street, and she's a presenter as well. So she's done quite well for herself. But yeah, I'm having to pick this based off her surname, Marsh. Next, we've got Fleur East, who is a singer who was on X Factor. Fleur was on Between the Covers, which is a programme that's hosted by Sarah Cox on BBC Two, where celebrities come on and talk about books that they've loved and books that they've read together. Fleur actually did choose a book. She chose Enduring Love by Ian McEwan, which I have never read. It says, one windy spring day in the Chilterns, Jo Rose's calm, organised life is shattered by a ballooning accident. The afternoon, Rose reflects, could have ended in mere tragedy but for his brief meeting with Jeb Parry. Unknown to Rose, something passes between them, something that gives birth in Parry to an obsession so powerful that it will test to the limits Rose's beloved scientific rationalism, threaten the love of his wife Clarissa, and drive him to the brink of murders and madness. So, as Fleur picked this, I'm going to read this. Depending on when Fleur leaves the competition, although I think she will do quite well, but again, as I've said, you just never know. I should say as well that the launch show for Strictly was meant to go up this Saturday, but because of the death of the Queen, they've put it back a week. So actually, it may go well into December for Strictly this year. Next, we've got Jade Adams, who is one of the presenters from Loose Women. I didn't have one with the exact spelling of her name. She spells Kaye, but I have got The Carnelian Fox by Kate MacLeod. It's MacLeod. Every time I put this on a TBR, I pronounce the name wrong. It is Kate MacLeod. And I won this in a YouTube competition, and I love the cover. I'm desperate to read it, and then I pick it for India Codes each time it comes around, and then just end up not picking it. So I'm determined to go for this. It's about monsters don't exist, at least they didn't until we created them. Mayerman was once merely a game, now it's a global reality. After dozens of hit monster collecting games raked in billions of credits per year, it was inevitable someone could create real ones. Unfortunately, it wasn't so obvious how many people would dump them in the wild. Sam Wentworth grew up with nothing. She's worked tirelessly just to get through college and earn her first monster. Bankrupt and exhausted, she sets her sights on fame and fortune in Mayerman arenas. Instead, Sam's caught between battling the rampaging elemental creatures abandoned by their owners and standing up to a toxic group intent on ending the game forever. With her flame fox cub Finn at her side, Sam sets out to build a team capable of protecting both innocent people's lives and the creatures she loves. That's the easy part. Monsters may fill the world, but it's humans she fears the most. So that is actually one that I could have used for the sidekick prompt in the Royal Readathon. And I just thought of something else I could have used it for as well. There's also one in that about trials and games. So yeah, that could be used for a few things. So hopefully this month, with all those things going on, it will get read. Depending on when Jade Adams goes out Strictly. If she goes out in October, then it will fit with those readathons. If she goes out in September or November or December, not so much so. Let's see, James By from EastEnders. he plays Martin Fowler, I believe. I haven't watched that in years. I watched a different actor play that years ago. I didn't have one for him, so I've gone for an author with the name James, which is James Patterson. First to Die, the Women's Murder Club. I keep meaning to read this. This has been on loads of TBRs as well. As the only woman homicide inspector in San Francisco, Lindsay Boxer has to be tough, but nothing has prepared her for the brutal maniac who has begun a killing spree, slaughtering newlywed couples. Lindsay is sickened by the deaths, but her determination to bring the murderers to justice is threatened by a personal tragedy. So she turns to Claire Washburn, a coroner, Cindy Thomas, a journalist, and Jill Bernhardt, an attorney, for help with both cases. Need to start on this series, so hopefully I will. When James By leaves Strictly, that is the one I will be reading. Next is Helen Skelton, who is a Blue Peter presenter and now a journalist. I've had this on my books for ages, on my shelves for ages. I went on a website where you could pay and a company would choose 3 books for you based on your likes and dislikes, and one of the ones they picked for me was Our Women on the Ground, because I'd said I like travel non-fiction. So essays by Arab women reporting from the Arab world. So as Helen is a woman journalist and this is about women who are journalists, I am going to hopefully get this one off my TBR. Next we've got Will Mellor, who was an actor in, is it 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps? Something like that. I don't know how many pints of lager it is. I know it's a packet of crisps. And I had nothing for him either, so I picked a famous William. I am going to attempt a Shakespeare play for when Will Mellor leaves Strictly. I have read Othello, Macbeth, Taming of the Shrew. Are they the 3? Have I done any more? No, I think those are the 3. So I would like to not reread one. I'd like to do one that I haven't done before. Maybe A Midsummer's Night's Dream or Twelfth Night maybe. I'm not sure. But I'm going to try and do it. This is a chunker one, but obviously the play's only part of it. So I will decide, I will pick one and go for it. How good I will be at understanding it. Obviously when I was at school I studied a lot of Shakespeare and enjoyed it, but you've also then got a teacher who's kind of explaining the intricacies to you. But we've got YouTube now, we've got Google. If there's bits I'm struggling with, I can go on and have a look. So that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, for Will Mellor, Shakespeare play. Ellie Simmons is a Paralympic swimmer. She has written children's books. I have managed to get hold of one, and I picked a royal one because obviously sadly because of the Queen I thought it was just fit at the minute. So this one's called Ellie's Magical Bakery, a royalty for royalty. It says Ellie's always dreamed of swimming in the pool in London's Olympic Park. To get there she has to help her horrid aunt and uncle reach the final of Britain's Bestest Baker. Will Ellie's magical creations impress the TV show's majestic VIP judge? This isn't going to take longer to read. I'm hoping to read it to Sophie one bedtime. So yeah, there's all nice pictures in it. It's quite big writing, but I just couldn't pass up the opportunity. Not many of the people on this list have written books themselves. So far, out of all the ones I've said so far, there's only Ellie Taylor who has, and now there's Ellie Simmons. Both the Ellies have books. So when Ellie Simmons leaves the competition, I will be reading this book to Sophie. Next we have Tony Adams, who's a footballer. I don't watch football. My husband is a massive football fan. He supports Man United. When he sadly had to give up his season ticket because it got too expensive, he decided to start watching Man United ladies who play at a stadium near to us in Leigh. He does the fanzine for that now. He's really embraced this. He's part of the group that are called the Barmy Army. The fanzine is called the Barmy Article. And yeah, I'm really proud of him. I think we're on issue 7 of that fanzine now. So if you've got any interest in women's football at all, in particular Man United ladies, I will link his Twitter page below, and there will be a link there for you to check out the fanzine. You can buy it online, you can buy it in person, and he'll post it to you. But yeah, I'm dead proud of him for that. Unfortunately, I'm not a massive football fan. I take an interest in how they do because Andy's so into it, and Sophie plays football in like a girls group and is starting to take more of an interest in it, which I'm sure Andy is delighted with. But I'm not really into sport in general at all. I'll go and watch the Golf Open with my dad when that comes around. I used to support, well, I still support them, but my hometown of Widnes have a rugby team called Widnes Vikings, and I always want them to win because I'm from there. But I used to go with my dad because I liked going with my dad, but I don't really follow it anymore. So yeah, sport's not really my thing. So I've decided to just pick a sport, which is cycling. I had this book out from the library, which I've wanted to read for a while. It's called Riding Out, and it's A Journey of Love, Loss and New Beginnings by Simon Parker. He basically is struggling in his life as Britain's entered the first lockdown because his travel journalism career has vanished overnight. So he sets off on a bike from the northernmost point of Shetland with only a sleeping bag and a camping stove. Simon would end up cycling 3,427 miles around Britain. En route, he would meet hundreds of resilient Britons who were all in their own way riding out the storm just like he was. So you know I love travel non-fiction. I know it's not cycling in terms of like the cycling you'll see on the Olympics and stuff like that, but it's still a form of sport. I am picking it for if Tony Adams goes out of Strictly, I will be reading this book. Then there's Hamza Yasser, who is a wildlife presenter who I had never heard of before, but he does have a book. It's a children's information book. I didn't realise there was a CBBC character called Ranger Hamza. So yeah, it says, shall we have an adventure today? Take this book with you on a walk and let's have fun spotting things together. Wherever you are, there's so much to discover, so what are you waiting for? Let's go for a walk. So I will look through it with Soph. We will look at the things. There's things like you're looking at different constellations and the stars, different creatures, trying out different activities like building a paper boat and seeing if it floats, looking at trees and leaves and flowers. So it is good to have some of the shorter books like the Ellie Simmons one and this one on the TBR, because obviously during those 3 or 4 months I will have other books that I'm trying to fit in for the TBRs. So yeah, reading this with Sophie 1 week is not going to take long at all. So obviously they all go out of Strictly at some point, even if they get to the end. But when Hamza leaves Strictly, whether that's at the beginning or the end, I will be reading this book. Then we've got Molly Rainford, who is a CBBC presenter. So for Molly, because she's a CBBC presenter, I am going to read a middle grade. I don't know what middle grade I'm going to read. There's the second in the travel word agency book. We've got the Unadoptables there. Are there any other middle grades that I can see from here? The Boy at the Back of the Class. The one that I've just picked out for now is The Consequence Girl by Alistair Chisholm. Recently I talked about this on a TBR, so go back and watch. Oh, I think it was on a book haul one. It's the one where I am holding up the Murders at Corfe Castle one. So I read the description there, so I'm not going to do it again. But yeah, The Consequence Girl, I loved. What's it called? Orion Lost by Alistair Chisholm. I know he's got Adam 2 out. I haven't read that yet. And then there's this one, so I couldn't pass it up. So yeah, any middle grade for Molly Rainford will do. I'm picking this one up at the minute, but I will choose it based on what I feel in the mood for when the time comes. Next, we've got Tyler West, who is a radio host. Again, I hadn't heard of him before. I didn't have anything with Tyler or Weston. I couldn't find a book that he was interested in. So I'm going to pick one by another radio DJ, Sarah Cox, Throne. It says, the women of the inventor's housing estate keeps themselves to themselves. The dilapidated community centre is no longer the beating heart of the estate that single mum Becky remembers from her childhood. But the new pottery class she's helped set up feels like it could be a fresh start, and not just for her. As Becky and her neighbours begin to come together to try out a new skill, unremarkable lumps of clay are hesitantly, lovingly transformed, and so too are their lives, moulding friendships, throwing relationships off centre and revealing concealed passions. She is a radio DJ, so is Tyler West, so I am picking Throne by Sarah Cox. Then we've got Matt Goss, I was hoping to find, he's an 80s singer. I was hoping to find something to do with music or singing or something. I couldn't really exactly find that. However, Strictly runs right through till Christmas, so I'm hoping Matt Goss stays in till late November, December, because I hope to read the Christmas carols. Obviously, we sing Christmas carols at Christmas. This is about a family called the Carroll family. It says, for Holly Carroll and her family, every day is Christmas. Obsessed with spreading cheer 365 days a year, they live their merriest lives in a house full of multicoloured fairy lights, a carol singing toilet, and a diva donkey that thinks he's a reindeer. When they move house, Holly can't wait to start her new school, but her Santa backpack is getting odd looks. The class aren't joining in her loud morning carols, and even her new friend Archer thinks she should tone down the tinsel. Is the world's most Christmassy girl about to lose her Christmas spirit? I picked this up because Lauren from Lauren and the Books does a Christmas. She has a Patreon book club, but she does a specific Christmas one at Christmas. The last 2 or 3 years I've joined in, and one year the choices were it's her and a partner who pick a book each, and then the Patreons pick, and then they choose that book. So there was Stay Another Day by Juno Dawson and The Christmas Carols by Mel Taylor Besant. I really wanted this one to win because I thought it looked so cute, but Stay Another Day by Juno Dawson won. I actually really loved that book, so I'm glad that one got chosen in the end, but I still want to read this. So when Matt Goss leaves Strictly, I will be reading The Christmas Carols. Then the final person, who is my person who I pulled from the sweep, is Jade Adams, who is another comedian. So I have decided for Jade Adams to read a book by a comedian. I've got 2 options on my shelf. Mac the Life by Lee Mack and Look Back in Hunger by Joe Brand. I love both of these comedians. I've seen them. Have I seen them both live? No, I don't think I've seen Lee Mack live, but I've watched Would I Lie to You forever. I love Not Going Out. So yeah, I've seen him on lots of things. Joe Brand I went to see at the Liverpool, was it the Philharmonic? A Liverpool theatre with my mum years and years and years ago. So yeah, I love them both. So when Jade Adams leaves Strictly, hopefully she gets to the end because she is my person. I don't think I've ever won my Strictly sweep. I've got to the end, but I don't think I've ever won. I think I've got maybe second. Yeah, I don't think I've ever won. So Jade Adams could be my person. I wanted to get to the end, and then I will be reading one of these 2 books. So yeah, there's quite a lot there. There's 15 books altogether. So we'll see how we go. I have to make sure I remember to do it for start. Every Saturday night I will watch Strictly, well, Sunday night. I'm one of them people who watch the Strictly spoiler on a Saturday night. I go on Twitter after the show's finished and look at the spoiler to see in advance who is left. Obviously, for spoiler purposes, I will not be announcing the book that I'm choosing until the Sunday night final has been aired and that person has gone out. But each Sunday, I will let you know who's gone out, which book that is picking, and I might do it in a vlog style where I might do a little short where I say, right, this is the book I'm reading this week, and then I'll come back and tell you. Or maybe each time the next person goes out, I'll tell you the book that I read the week before. I haven't decided how I'm doing it, but I will definitely on Twitter and Instagram be announcing who's left and which book I'll be reading, but I'll do a video about it in some form as well. So yeah, wish me luck. 15 books, but that's spread out from September to December. We will see how we go. If you love Strictly as much as me and you want to join in with me on this, just put in the comments below what you think you might read. And along the way, just in the post that I put up what I'm reading for that week, come on and let me know what book you were going to choose. I just think it's a good way of doing it. And they can be as loose as this. If you know, there's a comedian there, if you want to pick a funny book, you know, we've got a travel radio presenter, so pick a travel book. A wildlife presenter, so pick something with wildlife on the cover. It can be very loose. That person wears green a lot, so I'm picking a green cover and but yeah, join in with me. That would be awesome. I haven't done it like a readathon thing because I wanted to do it just for me. But if you would like to join in with this, where each week as a Strictly contestant leaves, you choose a book and read it that week. Let's do it together. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon.